All right, it is bed building time. Time for me to get my mattress off the floor. Here is a rough picture of what I'm doing. Now let's get it over and see the progress. All right, here's the layout. These side runners are 82 inches. These, I believe, are 39. This is going to be the foot legs. Those are 26 inches. Yes, 26 inches. This will be headboard leg that I believe I made 40 inches because I adjusted the measurement on that. And each of these are just bed supports. So to drill these holes for the bed supports, because this is just going to sit up like that, I made this drill stencil. And to do that, I measured the center of the 2x4, and then I went 3/4 of an inch out. So there's an 1.5 inch gap between each one. Came through, marked where I wanted the holes to be. Let me flip around. So this is the center of the board, and then I went halfway to the edge and then halfway in between. And I'm going to do one more over here somewhere, but I'm going to sort of eyeball that once I get the headboard and the legs, or that's the footboard. But the headboard and the legs, and then I'll put one more in to support the edge of the bed. All right, a little bit of hindsight. When I made this stencil, I used just a scrap piece of 2x4, but I should have used a scrap piece from the stuff I had recently bought, because this is, I don't know, like an eighth wider than these other 2x4s. I don't know if it's this crack or whatever, but it's just a little bit different, so I had to just finger it and feel to line it up. All right, here you can see I've got the sideboard set up on just another 2x4. Eyeballed it centered on the two pre-drilled holes. Now I'm just going to sink screws in and go all along both sides and get that done. All right, I got all the deck boards in, minus the head and foot one, which will be done a bit later. They're put in loosely, so I'm just going to go through and tighten them up. All right, here you can see I've already pre-drilled these screw holes. This is going to be, I guess, like the headboard is what you'd call it, and then this is going to be removed, and this is where the legs are going to go. But I'm using both boards here so that I can adjust this, make it flush so that the legs will sit flush, and I'll be able to get them flush against the wall. All right, so the box part of the frame is put together. Now I'm just going to put one more runner, probably about right here or so, to support my head and feet, one on each side. And then I'm going to have to take this into my room to put the legs on it, because I don't know that I'll fit through the door otherwise. And so that I'll have to prep and share when I get there. All right, so here's where the bed is going to go. This is where the tough part's going to be, because I'm only one person and I got to get these legs attached. So I'll have to have it flipped up like this, attach the legs, flip it, and then go from there. So wish me luck. All right, so I got my legs set out. These are 26 inches. Like I said, I think those are 40. But I want the bottom of the bed to be 18 inches off the ground. So I'm going to measure from the bottom up 18 inches, mark it with my triangle, use the clamps to secure it to the board, and then, excuse me, get everything secured up. Do that to each leg, attach it. And the reason I want it 18 inches off the ground is it's got all these storage boxes, and I should be able to fit, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them under the bed here. Okay, so I got my first one marked. Now let's get it clamped up. All right, so I got it clamped up. Made sure my line was pretty straight, and sank the screws in from the pre-drilled holes, excuse me. All right, here's the second one. Got the line nice and lined up. Got my screws kind of preset in hole. Now just send it. All right, I'm gonna do the same process for the two at the head. It's just gonna be a little more difficult because I gotta flip the bed and all this stuff. But I'll show you that when it's done. All right, and one more thing I'm gonna do before I set this bed up right is it needs some screws to secure this wood to it. So I'm gonna figure out, I think I'm gonna do them like this. So I'll get my stencil block out, pre-drill a hole, and then send it in. And there it about is. Last thing I'm gonna do is put some supports from here to here, and then same on the sides, 2 on each corner. I think I'm gonna do about 17 inches from the outer point to the outer point. I'll cut 45s on them, so that'll also help like square everything up a little bit and push things into place. But I gotta go get those cut first. All right, we're back at the saw. To get this 17 inches from outside corner with 45s on each side, it's pretty simple. Just cut a board 17 inches. Gonna adjust the saw to 45 degrees. Lock her in. And then just adjust the wood so that your cut starts here and ends out here, so that this tip is left. And then flip it over, do the same thing. Make sure it wedges in like a pizza, and not that they're going parallel to each other, and you'll be good to go. You can see I've got the blade right at the tip of the wood there. I'm just gonna make the cut. Here you go, nice and clean. Now just flip it over, do another one, and there's the other one. And you see it's nice, like wedged in like a pizza. Just gotta do that 7 more times and we'll be good to go. All right, we're back at the bed for the final step, I believe. Besides putting everything back together, we got our 45s. So just gonna secure it there, slap one up through here and into the other board, and we'll be good to go. But I'm gonna need 2 hands, maybe a third hand would be nice, but to get that done, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, to make this a little easier on me, I'm gonna pre-drill a hole through each of these here, and that will help me sink it into this support board a little more easily. All right, so I made a little mistake here when pre-drilling. What I did was I went straight through the wood, which didn't reach, and I meant to go at an angle. So I just used the same hole head and drilled the second hole through to solve that problem. Shouldn't be a problem, as these are just bracing. They're not really supporting weight, they're just making things more stable. All right, there's one in. So this is just a little tricky. I got to clamp it this way to hold it in place after aligning it up, and then once I go to put these in, you got to kind of torque the leg to get it at the angle you want, so it's as square or plumb, whatever you want to call it, as possible. I'll try to show you on the next leg. I'm going to try to hold this here while I show you. So this part is flush to the wood, and this is close to flush with the leg. And so I'm going to secure this top part here to hold in place, and then when I go to put these screws in, I'll be pushing on the leg to get it to be more flush. All right, so this one's a little more off than I'd like, but it's okay. I have this part secured. I'm going to push on the leg here, which I believe I got in place now, to where this is flush. It's a little bit unflush at the bottom, but that's okay. Nobody's going to see that part. All right, folks, and there you have it. There's the bracings. Let me just get the mattress on. There we go. Fits pretty good. I'll probably run a board here for like a headboard. Might even make a smaller shelf here for like phone chargers and stuff. Maybe a spot to stash a book to read at night. And then we're about it. One of the reasons I built this instead of buying something is I can fit these storage boxes perfectly down there. And to buy something and do that would probably be way more expensive. This probably cost me about 8 2x4s and some the screws for the hardware. So I'd say under $100. Get this done. Do something like it if you ever need some. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.